Well, hello everybody and welcome back. Just another little video of me tinkering about in my workshop. It might be of interest to some people, and I'm no expert on this subject, so if you think differently or you do yours differently, you know, please accept my apologies. But I thought I'd share this little video with you. Unfortunately, it's been cold, damp and wet here. I still haven't ventured to the boats. I've written this year off with my boats. Sadly, where my little narrowboat is moored, there's been several people on the residential boats that have had this COVID, and I don't think it's fair for me or for them, you know, to go into that environment. So I've kept away. The boat is okay. I take this opportunity to wish you all a happy Christmas and a very better and prosperous 2021 next year. I hope you all have a splendid new year and you enjoy your Christmas celebrations in whatever form they can take this year. But thank you all again for watching my videos over the year. And as I say, this is just a little video of me trying. I was given this item and I thought I'd have a go in these dark November days of trying to see what we could do if we could get it going anyway. This is a wind-up gramophone which dates from the period the 1920s to the early 1930s. It's a HMV, so it's a good make. It's one of the better makes. It's the 101 model, which was in why I know I can say it doesn't go far into the 30s, because this model was superseded by the, I believe it was the 102, which had slightly more rounded edges. Still a portable gramophone, wind up. So if we lift the lid up, and we can see the turntable wants to go around. It's very dirty. It's as was found. If I bring the camera up now and show you a bit in more detail. It's been many years in a loft. I think it hasn't been too damp. It's been obviously quite lucky in its storage. It's kept quite dry. You can see we've got the HMV logo under the lid. This little flap here is where you put, I think you can store 10 records, 1078 records. Obviously for all the uninitiated and people who haven't had anything to do with gramophones, this will only play shellac 78 RPM records with a steel needle. It's got an acoustic sound box, and as I say, there you can see you've got a steel needle which should realistically be changed. If you're using ordinary steel needles, every record you need a new needle. And there's an acoustic sound box. The only thing I've noticed is slightly the leather handle. Can you see that's just a steel strip there? The leather handle has disintegrated and broke, but I think, I haven't looked yet, I think you can buy replacement leather handles for around about £10 or £12 off eBay for this model, which would be nice to keep it all, you know, very much original, because that steel strip there where the leather should come through doesn't look very nice. So what I intend to do with this is see if I can get it going. It does wind up. I'll give you a quick show you what I mean happens. The record starts revolving, and if we drop the tone on, I don't think the speed is set anywhere near right neither. Well, I think we'll call it quits there. I think you can see what is happening. I think either the fact that the spring is so gummed up with this graphite black grease, which it could be. So the turntable very simply just lifts up and just jiggle it, it disengages off, and there we go. So that's the turntable removed. If we keep all that there and then give it a good clean. We then need a little screwdriver perhaps that one will do to get us. Then we have just some little screws. I should think it's many years since these have been taken out. They certainly have, the chrome screws there have gone a little bit rusty, but there again, when something is could well be coming up for 100 years old, you can't really expect. And there's my little screwdriver on the floor, so I'll bend down and pick that better screwdriver up. So if we take them two, got 4 screws, one in each corner there. You can hear the motor still, as we took the turntable off now, the motor is running down, or the spring is running down, powering the motor. Now theoretically that should lift up like so, and then we can see, and you can see under there the motor, and there's the governor, which, you know, governs the speed. The spring is turning around. The spring is encased in that steel case there. That's with that big tooth on there. And obviously then that basically drives the turntable. Very simple system indeed. So we'll probably take this, as I can see, it looks very dirty. And we'll perhaps give all this a good clean. You can see even in the bottom, whether you'll see that, there's even a paper sticker still in there telling you about lubrication of your gramophone, and I wouldn't think that's been done in many years. You can certainly clean all this black horrible gungy grease, which is obviously over years has gone hard. It tends to clog the mechanism up, and you can see I have started, I did before I broke the motor apart, I did wash it in some degreaser. Sometimes if you're lucky, you know, you can get away without taking it to bits, but in this case I've actually stripped the motor, which is very simple. It's only a matter of 4 bolts and it all pulls off. It's very basic engineering, this is. And I shall certainly degrease all the parts and get this horrible black. You can see some of this grease there where I've scraped off down on that cloth, some of this horrible black grease off, and then we'll reassemble and see whether it will actually play a record now. Well, I just wanted to show you this, and this is very important, and perhaps where many people come unstuck with these gramophones. The part that I'm pointing to, you see it's a little bit domed there. This is in the bottom plate of the motor, and this is very important. Actually, in there sits a little ball bearing, and it's very easy. Obviously the grease dries out over time, and when you split the motor apart, if you do for any reason to clean the motor, the ball bearing falls out very easily, and it's once you know it's a minute little thing, and once it's probably rolling about on the carpet or your workshop or wherever you're doing this, it's highly difficult to, you know, locate it. And as I say, the ball bearing goes in that hole there. You can see my finger pointing to again. And so that is crucial that, you know, when you're taking the motor apart, that you remember there is a tiny little ball bearing in there. Mine was missing, so that probably is one answer to why the gramophone wasn't working very well, because that part of the gramophone is where the turntable spindle fits into. And you can see now, this is the ball bearing and how small it is. And I hope you can see that it's very small, and so it's vital, the importance, you know, that you do try and remember that. And I've done it before and took them apart and you know, suddenly remembered, and it's dropped out. It's best to probably, you know, put a smear of grease over it when you put it in, because that will hold it in, and obviously keep it more secure. Because as I say, it is so crucial to the running of the gramophone that is there, and you know, you'd never know it was there probably if you had new to taking one of these apart to clean it. So as I do, always bear that in mind, that you have that very small ball bearing there in that part. So I'll take the motor out now, and or what I should say is I'll take the spring out now and show you what I did to the spring, and we'll have a look at that. So here we are, we've got the spring barrel open now, and we're looking at the spring. As I've said, I've taken this spring out and cleaned all the hard black graphite grease off this. I've soaked it overnight in a bucket of paraffin, and then even then it still needed a scrape in some areas. The grease had gone so hard, and obviously to get the spring out it needs a good deal of care, and there's several good YouTubes. I'm not going to show you how to do that. There's several good YouTube videos of people taking all sorts of gramophone springs out of the barrels. Just be careful, if you're going to have a go, wear really good gloves and perhaps some eye protection. And the idea is you really want to keep hold of the spring the whole time, and just gently uncoil it out of that barrel. As you can see, when we get back into shot, if somebody'd hold the camera in the right place, also when I took the spring out, the stud, there's an original steel stud that holds the inner end of the spring in the barrel, that just disintegrated and dropped off. So what I've had to do, I should say, is I've had to put a bolt and a nut and then file that down so it misses, because this barrel turns round when the spring is wound and it's in the mechanism and powering the motor, and so it clears all the cogs. I've had to file that down a little bit, but it seems to be holding the tag end of the spring in the barrel seems to have hooked round my bolt that I put in there, then put a nut on it and tightened it up, and that seems to have been a perfectly acceptable sort of fix on that. I've repacked the spring with some new moly grease. I haven't used graphite grease because I hadn't got any. I think you're supposed to still use the graphite grease, but I've used some moly grease because I might well change this spring in time, because I still think the spring is a little bit weak in this gramophone motor. So the thing we'll do now is put the top casing back on and screw that on with the 4 screws. So I just thought we'd try now. I've got the spring, as you saw, back in. The motor is all put back together with the spring inside. The wooden baseboard is back on to the motor board. I've installed it back into the gramophone, and I think it's just about fully wound up. And we'll just see. We'll start it off. And apologies, this is not one of my finest records, but it was just a record I'd got to hand. So I thought we'd have a whirl with this and just see. Well, there we go. It does play better. I still think I shall invest in a new spring. I don't think the spring has got a lot of necessary life left in it, but it is playing, and it is a lot better. It will play now, which is, so I think I've achieved something. And as I say, I think I shall invest in a new spring and install that, and it will be as good as it ever was then. I thought while I'd got it out, I'd look my green one out and just show you that playing a little bit of a record. That's a very nice, I do like the coloured ones of these. They came in blue, green, grey I think as well, and of course as well as black, which was much the standard colour. So I'll just play a little bit of the green one, playing a record, and as I say, they are very nice, these gramophones. This has got the auto start, so you basically just pull it to the right and then you always let the motor get running up to speed before you drop the sound box onto the record, and there we go.
That certain night, the night we met, there was magic abroad in the air. There were angels shining at the ridge, and the nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. But I'm perfectly willing to swear that when you turned and smiled at me, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. The moon that lingered over London towers was puzzled moon. He wore a frown.
So there we go. As you could hear, that plays very, very well. As I say, it had a new spring some 10 to 15 years ago. I actually fitted a new spring in this one. I love these gramophones. I think they're great, just as a display piece, or if you want just to collect one, or if you want to start collecting, 78 RPM shellac records. That was Glenn Miller, of course, when a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I must have many thousand 78 records, from dance bands to some classical pieces as well, and I've collected them over many, many years. I used to go to a local auction and buy huge great boxes for £2 or £3 years ago, when you couldn't really give them away. So there we go. That's the 101 gramophones, a big favourite of mine, certainly worth considering. Plenty out there, you might find one in an antique shop, in a junkie type shop, or on eBay. Plenty of these to be found out there. Plenty of parts still can be had, and there are people still, if you don't want to restore it, there's certainly, I know people that will restore it for you. So yeah, there we go. Hope you enjoyed looking at these gramophones and me trying to restore this black one, and as I say, and it looks a lot better anyway. It's just for a clean-up, and I now know what's wrong with it and how to move it on, and we may come back to that after I've done the repair. I'll probably show you it again, whenever that might be, when I've got a new spring, or if I invest in a new spring and put it in there. And so thanks again. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. Please do comment. If you've got any questions on gramophones, I'll try and answer them. I'm not a specialist, I have to say, on these. It's just something that I've acquired over the years, and really enjoy them, and have really liked owning them. I've had many and sold many, and over the years. So there we go. Thanks again, and see you very soon on another video. Bye for now.